So what's going on, everybody? So today we are going to be talking about men struggle with not being needed. See, we live in a very technologically advanced society. Many years ago, men were the breadwinners. Men provided for the women. They defended them from the saber-tooth tiger, the lion, the any aggressor that they saw. Men would be the defender. And women admired that. They found use in that. They found use for men. Men provide and protect, and in exchange, they would give them themselves. But what about now? How do we adapt? How do men adapt in a society that doesn't need you? Now, what's going on, Simply Deep? Now, when you are in a society that doesn't need you, what do you do? Because we all know that women could get the bag, women could get jobs, and they can make money just as much as men do, if not more in many cases. Women have the government to support and defend them. They don't need men to do it. So what use is the modern man to women if women don't need them? How do men adapt? Do women need men? I just gave you reasons why women don't need men. But do women still need men? Today on the panel, we are going to get into this conversation. And if you want to jump on, just hit me up in the chat. I'm doing good, Simply Deep. I'm doing well. How about you, bro? But let's bring in my buddy Haran. He has a lot to say. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see Coco and some others hop on. So,
Yo, what's going on?
Women don't need men anymore.
Yeah. Started out with those damn vibrators.
Damn.
It was it was a slippery slope from then on.
It was, you know what it was? Is when they made vibrators in all different shapes and sizes. That's when it fucked up.
Pretty much.
Because when it was the standard 5.5 inches, now they got the shit that spins and does the thrusting and now there's no point for men.
Change the TV channel with that shit, all kinds of shit.
They can connect to your phone, answer your Bluetooth calls.
Oh yeah, man.
So, but no, seriously, men struggle with not being needed. We have for the longest time have been needed by women. Women needed us.
Yeah. I will say this though. I think one of the reasons why we're struggling is, well, I don't think we really took enough time to really think about women's needs. We often led with our pockets. We led with our standing, our social standing. And now that these things are either being challenged or met, it's kind of like, okay, well, what other bargaining chip do you have? And I mean, there's always a bargaining chip. Just have to look for it. I mean, listen, look. There's some goddamn homosexual out there laid up with a woman making $250K a year, and he's figured it out. Look, I mean, a guy who's making just as much or whatever can figure it out. But the point here is that I'm making is this: I think that first of all, I think men need to get back to the table. And when I say the table, we need to get back to us. We need to get back to who we are. We need to really get back to the reevaluation of what a man actually is, going forward. Because look, listen, that taste of power, that taste of freedom that women have experienced, that genie's not going back in the bottle. Going forward, it's either going to be as difficult or more difficult. And as men, we have to adapt. Shaming them is not going to work. They don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? They have the power and the influence to, not even pay us any attention. You know what I
Well,
mean?
they can't even. It's not just they not even. They just can't even right now with
you
men.
know, and and it's one of those things where you kind of have to deal with it. And if you're a guy who's isn't used to adapting, or if you don't adapt well to change, you might just die off. I mean, this is kind of how what this is kind. I mean, look, listen. This is how nature works. This is how nature works. You know what I mean? Things shift, and if you can get with it, if you can survive, then your genes get passed on. If you can't, then you die off.
Oh, it's very basic and simple like that. And but it's funny that I think we have to address the trope, or what I like to call the lie that's been sold to men. Like, it's been get a good job, make a career for yourself, you know, prove to women that you are someone that could be a good provider. And just by doing these things, you are likely to get women to be interested in you. And you will find a woman that will value you based off the things that you provide them. And that they will appreciate what you provide them, and they won't do anything foul to risk losing that. And I think that is maybe something that was true before. I definitely don't see that now. I definitely don't think that's something that the modern women views now. I think that they see men as a stepping stone in some regards. We were on a podcast with Jen not too long ago, and she talked about how women are just going to level up, use the guy if they want to, and then move on. So if that's the mentality of the modern woman, then that shows that they're not needed. Men are not needed. So how do guys adapt from being needed to not needed? They have to learn how to be wanted.
Right.
And when you're wanted, you have more power than you do when you are needed.
Well, here's the thing. First, before I get into anything, I'd love to just have a candid observation about something. Can we agree that there was a time when men we were pretty much shitheads to these women? Can we agree to that there was such a time?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, now that they have the opportunity to not have to deal with us, in some context, some of them probably just said, you know what? I want to be the shithead now. Is that necessarily, can you necessarily blame them? Because, hey, look, bro, let's just call it what it is. As they say, it's never fun when the rabbit has the gun.
Here's the thing. We can't say all men were shitheads, because there was a lot of good men. There was a lot of good men out there that weren't shitheads.
Yes, that is true.
But what women have done is that they chose out of all the male archetypes, they chose the worst of the male archetypes to mimic. They want to be the frat guy, the fuck
Right.
boy,
Right.
you know? And real men don't even like guys that grew out of those phases. They don't like talking about the frat phases, you know? They don't
Yeah.
like talking about the fuckboy phases because it's nothing admirable. It's nothing of value. But
Absolutely not.
women tend to, out of all the male archetypes to choose from, they want the frat boy. They want to be the frat boy. So, but
Well,
before we continue, let's introduce Coco to the stream. She's been sitting here quietly.
hey, Coco.
What are your thoughts, Coco?
I was so happy when Haran actually said that because I was making notes on my comments, and it was like that was one of my points. Is exactly what he said. Because RP Thor mentioned on was it Sunday?
Yeah.
That he had his podcast, and he made a valid point. He was like, the reason why men or women are that they are today, unfortunately, is mainly because of the male's fault, their actions and the things that they chose to do. But now women went too toxic with it. They went so far left with it. So that was my comment. What was going to be my comment is like, well, I'm not saying women shouldn't be held accountable because they should, because they know right from wrong. But it's like, do you think that men's behavior, because you're right, not everybody was that guy, but there was a time where women did value that, and that was a thing. If a guy was a provider, he was a good protector, he was a good husband, then she'd be happy. Then she would, then the guy then the whole household was a lot different then. But when men started doing some of the things that they were doing, women are like, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I don't want to do this. So you know what? If this has been my string of men, even though they may not have been like that way in the beginning, but then the more access into things that men are exposed to, just like anybody in the toxic world today, they either choose to adapt or they choose to just stay true to who they are and their values. But when it's constantly thrown in your face, it's like you're constantly having to restrain yourself from giving into all of that. So men having done the things that they did, when we're like, well, they're not like this, but then they turn into this. Right. And I mean, it's just not right. So then women are like, well, you know what? I'm just going to fend for myself. So women had to become so independent to where they didn't need a man because they didn't want to be stuck in that situation again. So, but then they just went so far with it and now have become so independent where they're like, yes, I don't need a man because I make my own money. I have my own house. They take care of me. If they have kids, they take care of their kids. Like my sister's a prime example. My sister has a house and 3 kids. And she has a huge savings account. But she doesn't need a man financially, but she still respects the traditional values of a relationship. So I'm glad that he said that because that was my talking point. I'm like, well, do you think that plays a role in it? How women had to become independent, but now they also don't want to let go of that independence because it's that switch of I don't know exactly how you want to word it, but it's like the dominant switch is tipping where they want to be the guy that they want to be the man in the relationship without all the male responsibilities though.
Right.
Well, I got a little pushback because you mentioned your sister and your sister is not modern women, but I have a statistic here. All right. I'm going to bring up, and because all it seemed to do, in my opinion, is that women went from needing men to needing the government. They don't need a man because Uncle Sam is going to pay them. All right, with welfare, with housing assistance. And here's a statistic right here. Women are more likely than men to be on welfare. It says that in 2018, 51% of the adults enrolled in SNAP or welfare were women. So they went from not needing men because the government is going to give them the funding. So do they really not need men? Because men are still paying the majority of the taxes. Men are still the majority of the high income earners. And so with that being said, it's not that they don't need men. They need men's provision. They just don't need men in their household because the government subsidizes that responsibility or that provisioning that men provide by taxpayer dollars. What do you have to say about that, Haran?
I see where the issue and the problem could be. I do notice that there are women who are essentially, what's the word? Taking advantage of the system. But here's the thing again, it kind of goes back to this. Okay, let's just put it like this. As men, we have created a monster. We've created a monster. We've spent a great deal of time lying, being abusive. Then, when the politics of the general public made us feel so guilty, we changed the landscape to basically say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, just take everything. Yeah, everything's on your side now. I'm sorry, everything's on your side now." And now, all this stuff is on her side now. And now she also has the opportunity to flex her own muscles. Anyway, looking at this from a human perspective, can I say I blame them? You also kind of gotta kind of look at it like this. I'm also black, so it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of
What? You're
no,
what?
just a little bit. I know.
You just threw me for a loop. You're black?
Yeah. Don't tell mom. Anyway,
Shit.
so I kind of know a thing or two about, disenfranchisement and getting the short end of the straw. So it's kind of like, when these women are going through kind of what they're going through, it's kind of like, yeah, I can kind of see that, but here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I think that society is going to go through this point where women are just going to run a fucking muck. They're going to get tired of it. And everybody's going to sit down at the table and be like, okay, you're not shit. I'm not shit. Where do we go from here? You did this. I did that. Where do we go from here? Because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop right now. It's just not going to happen. Okay? Because look, as I said before, the genie is out of the bottle. They're going to find ways to push things even further and harder. And you also have to take into account that they have an unlimited amount of simps to tap into, to essentially, to support their behavior and ensure that they have an unlimited amount of echo chambers. Okay?
Definitely. But, here's the thing. This thing that women are independent of men is actually another lie. Okay? The 5 richest women in the world inherited their wealth through divorce. It's not that they did anything. It wasn't their businesses. It wasn't their industries that they created. Like, for instance, Sue Ann Arnell, she's worth $1 billion.
Right.
Her husband, Harold Hamm, they were married for 26 years. Marriage ended in 2015, and she walked away with $974 million. Right? Sue Gross used to be related or ex-wife of Bill Gross, the billionaire from investment firm PIMCO. Walked away from her marriage of 32 years with $1.3 billion. Ellen Wynn, the Steve Wynn, the casino guy's wife, she walked away after 8 years of marriage with $2 billion.
How old is she?
I don't know.
Okay.
Didn't say her age, but they were only married for about 10 years.
8 years.
8 to 10 years. Okay. Melina Gates, $1.8 billion and counting. We all know her. She was married to Bill Gates.
Right.
Mackenzie Scott, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. She walked away with $57.7 billion. These women didn't earn that money. They didn't make that money. So this whole independence trope is that they're not independent from men. They were dependent upon men, and the government and the system worked in their favor to get them independent from men, but they weren't independent of their finances.
But those women are extreme outliers, though.
But what I'm saying is, like, that's the mentality of what people see in pop culture and in the news. They think that they could be applied in their life. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So we see R. Kelly get away with stuff for 30 some odd years, and everybody thinks they can start running around like R. Kelly. All right,
right.
We get people to behave that way. So they see that, oh, if they could do it, I could do it. So it's the mentality that comes across.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, like, they're not really independent of men as much as they think, because even the girls on OnlyFans, if every simp stopped subscribing to OnlyFans, they would be broke. So they are very much dependent upon men, but they don't want men, and they don't need men. They have to want men, and men need to realize that. That's the biggest thing. It's not a bash on women. It's a fact that evolution have occurred. Things have changed, and women don't need you. They have to want you in their life. Big difference, men. They don't need you.
I will say this. During the pandemic, shit got kind of hazy. You know what I mean? Prior to the pandemic, there were many women were, they raised the modern woman flag. They were proud of being independent. They had the braggadocio, all that. Well, when the pandemic hit, shit got frightening for a lot of people. And a lot of women, a lot of women that I knew who generally spoke in the terms that I stated previously. Oh yeah, they went and found them a dude. They went and found them a dude to lay up under, not because they necessarily needed him financially, some did, but not necessarily because they needed him financially. It's because they needed the male energy. And women technically, more so than ever, their bodies are ruled by estrogen. And if you're ruled by estrogen mostly, you're more so prone to fear and succumbing to fear than you are so if you are ruled by testosterone like men. Not saying that men don't get scared, but when you're filled with testosterone, you're more likely in a better stage of being able to protect yourself. And that's what it was really, with a lot of these women during the pandemic. A lot of them felt as if they just needed some sort of cloak of protection, whether it was financial protection, a man being there just so they could feel safe, so on and so forth, all of those things. So I understand what you're saying to a degree. I just wanted to, throw a little bit of devil's advocate out there as well, but I definitely, understand what you're saying.
Oh yeah, I think you made a great point. I want to share this video because you said something like a pandemic or something, catastrophe happened. Coco made this great video the other day with me, and I'm gonna play it.
Cook, I don't clean, but let me. I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me.
That is a prime example of what I'm saying. Like,
exactly. I mean,
in moments of crisis, as a matter of fact, I saw a feminist made a similar joke on Twitter. When they were talking about the draft, and she said, "Oh hell no!" He said, "If this draft goes down and they pick up women, I'm staying my ass in the kitchen where I belong."
And it's funny. It's funny. Well, hold on. I know Coco got some thoughts because I saw her writing her notes. Let me tell you something about her and her notepads. All right. It's fucking frightening. All right. Whenever she pulls out a pen and a notepad, I'm just like cringing. I'm like, what are we going to end up talking about later? like I'm just waiting for it. Just like, okay, let me get in the mood. When she comes in the room with the notepad, I'm like,
Oh shit.
I'm not ready. Give me a
Oh
minute.
man.
Let's hear what she
man.
has to say.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have a question. So, the statistics that you were talking about, and then talking about those women saying like they made millions or billions off of other people. One thing that I want to make just as a comment, like there's a difference between actually true independence and opportunists. And those women, there's a lot of women that I don't think that they really truly understand the difference between an opportunist, because that's what these women are doing. The women that cash out, the women that are on OnlyFans, pouring up all this other crap that literally, like as you stated, they are depending on men, because most women aren't going to want to watch them. It's going to be the men that are interested in watching them. So they are dependent on men in that aspect. Those are the type of women that don't understand that what they are is opportunists. The difference between true independence is like my old friend Sarah, my sister, my friend Anne Marie. Like those women are actually, or my Aunt Wendy. Those women are true independent women because all of them are single and they actually have regular jobs where they make enough to support themselves, to have a lifestyle that they want for their kids, whatever the case is. Like that's what true independence is. And the stats that you were talking about, though, was only really with women that had a lot of money and claimed independence, but you don't have to be rich to have independence. You could still, as long as your bills are paid, you can fill your car with gas in today's economy and you have food on the table. That's still, to me, that's still a definition of a woman who is independent, because she doesn't need to have a man in her life to cover those things because she already has those things covered. Is it nice? Does it take the load off of it if you have two people in the household, or if your man can take some of that weight off? Yeah, absolutely. But just because women, you don't have to be rich to be independent.
No, absolutely, and you're right. But what I was highlighting is that what the modern women see is that, oh, I don't need him. I don't need this husband. Okay, I don't like him anymore. I don't need him. I put in my 10 years. I could cash out now. I still have a good body and I can find someone better. Not saying that all women, I'm not saying all women, but the modern trope of women is that. I mean, I literally just read an article a month ago where a woman said, I want my first marriage to be for money and my second marriage to be for love. Meaning like she's looking at this as a job. Like, hey, I'm going to go work for this man by laying on my back and giving him some ass for 10 years. And then I'm going to cash out and collect this Benny check.
While the getting's good.
Yeah. While I'm still young enough to attract maybe a higher value man or another man that I actually like. So it's not that men are needed anymore. And I think men have a hard time understanding that. And I want to shout out to Nick here. Nick is right. The modern day confusion of disharmony between the sexes is caused by social engineering and subliminal programming. We have seen that in television for years. I mean, every husband, everybody loves Raymond, the biggest child in the room. You know, Kevin James from King of Queens. They didn't have no kids. He was the kid. Like we have made men to look like dumb adults. You know, like men are just,
Al Bundy.
Except Al Bundy. Al Bundy was one of the last real. I mean, you may not like them. You may have said, but at least he stood for himself. He stood on his own. But he also says, you know, and even chemical engineering by feminizing men, photo estrogen in our food and drinks. Yes. Okay. I don't eat anything with soy in it. I stay away from anything that's soy based. I don't even like. You have to be careful with your shampoos and your conditioners and stuff like that because there's a lot of soy in that. So, you know, got to stay from that. But he also says in his next comment, and Nick, if you want to hop on the podcast, just let me know. I'll drop the link. He also said men's testosterone levels are a lot lower than they were in the 70s. Doctor tells you need to keep your cholesterol levels low because you need cholesterol for testosterone, and they want you to have low testosterone. They want your testosterone low. Yeah, no, I am 100% with you on that. I am all for synthetic testosterone. If you can't get it from your doctor, just go to the gym. Somebody,
Oh yeah, and
somebody in the gym has a connection. Okay.
somebody's guy's got a guy, man. Hey, look, I'm big on. I tell dudes. All the
Oh yeah,
time,
no, he's right. Al Bundy is a Brazilian black belt in jiu-jitsu. That's true. No, he will kick your ass. Like he'll have his hand in his pants and have you in a pussy lock real quick. No joke. Like seriously. But here's the thing. Men need to realize we're at this age of electronics and technology to where our food is easier to get. We don't have to go out and hunt our food anymore. Okay, you want fast food, you go to convenience stores. You go through drive-throughs. Okay, men are not needed as much as they once were. So how do
I have a
you
theory on that.
hold that thought? How do you increase your value from a need to a want? And I think that's what men need to realize. Men need to learn how to change their value system from I may not be needed, but I'm definitely wanted. And how do you maintain being wanted? That's the difference. And I think guys have a hard time trying to figure that out. Like how do I be needed, or how do I be wanted when I'm not needed? What do you got to say, Haran?
I don't think men are. I think the perception of men as we're not needed. I think that comes from the fact that we've done such a great job of making the world safe. When there is no danger, there is no need for, or should I say, technically speaking, it makes sense for there to be a drop in testosterone levels. Okay, let's take into consideration. You worked in corrections, right? Under those circumstances, it would make sense for all of the men who are on lockdown, or even the COs, to be men of some sort of alpha nature. You know what I mean? You got to have testosterone pumping through you because you're in an environment that is filled with danger. You can't be a guy who isn't willing to inflict violence or willing to accept the fact that you are in a constant state of walking through violence, and your blood and your body not respond to that stimuli. Our bodies and our minds are responding to the stimuli of society, and our society continues to tell us that the world is safe now. So there are no more saber-toothed tigers. We are out of the Industrial Revolution. A whole bunch of things that we don't have to deal with, that our predecessors before us had to deal with, and of course, their bodies are going to be filled with a lot more testosterone than it was, as opposed to now. Now, what I think is that instead of we have to switch our thinking from, not necessarily there being, no danger. We have to understand that there is no desire. How do we tap into the desire? How do we understand the desire of what only a man can provide? Maybe for some women, maybe it is just sex. I don't know. Maybe for some women, it's just completely companionship. No, I'm serious. Like just companionship. Maybe they don't even want anything physical. You know what I mean? They just want companionship. But by understanding the desire and the way that you can add to a person's life, and you can move in a particular function, I think that will be helpful towards men. Now, of course, whatever situation that you get involved with, I would hope that that's the situation you agree to. You know what I mean? If you want to be in a sexless situation but you want sex, then you're not really being a man. You're just being a simp. You know what I mean? You wanna make sure that you find someone that you both agree that, okay, this is a life that we both can benefit mutually from. Let's move forward with that. And I also think that I also truly believe that we need to get away from this idea of one size fits all when it comes to every relationship these days going forward. Because I think that's a lot of the problems that a lot of people are experiencing, when it comes to relationships. They think like, oh, well, my relationship doesn't look like theirs, so we're failing. Like, fucking no. No, your relationship is whatever you and that person agree to within the confines of, the law, I hope. And you go forward, you move forward, and you create something positive and mutually beneficial rather.
Well, here's the other thought about that is that you know, the way that I think the way that men are trying to become more desired by women is by becoming more sympathetic to women.
Mhm.
And the key word is simp in sympathetic. Oh, you're in Australia, Nick? Oh my God, I have so many questions for you, bro. I really do. Like, we definitely got to connect because I have so many questions about the laws in Australia now. And I really want to pick your brain. So please subscribe to this channel. Hit me up on my social media because I definitely want to pick your brain about the laws in Australia. And I think it was like a year ago or 2 years ago where the school in Australia made all the boys like stand up and apologize for all the heinous crimes that men did before them or something like that. And coming from Australia, which you are, I really want to pick your brain on that. So I appreciate you for tuning in and definitely would love to have you on and talk about that in the future because that's something that is really fascinating to me. But, I think a lot of guys are very simpish and they're trying to appeal to women by being sympathetic to them. Like before we would have standards and guys are like, oh, if we get rid of standards, if we just like accept whatever they do, like if they have 10 kids, that's okay. They probably just we're all really bad guys, like not assuming or, understanding that it takes two people to screw up a relationship. Oh, awesome. Thank you, bro. And so like, I think guys need to realize that this whole simp route is not gaining them into bed because if the 80-20 rule still stands, if that's still true, 100% of women want to bang the top 20% of guys. Do you think the top 20% of guys are being simps? No, it's the 80% of guys that are being simps. Do you think the top 20% of guys are they are Nazi laws out there? I have heard, bro. I've heard. That's why I love to have you on. But like the top 20% of guys are not sliding in and on these girls' OnlyFans and paying a fortune. Okay, they don't have to. All right. But the 80% of guys are the simps, and that these girls are still not banging. What do you say to that, Coco?
Well, good point. Yes, they're trying to be sympathetic, but that's maybe where, how I said earlier, women who are claiming independence don't know the difference between independent and opportunist. Maybe this is an area for men to know the difference between being sympathetic, which, as you described, could come off really simpish, or also just being sensitive with your woman and like situations that she's in. Because every woman does want a man to have some level of being sensitive towards her, whether it's like because when she's having a bad day or something's going on, then she just wants you because you are her partner. You are her other half. So therefore she goes to you first, whether most people want to say it or not. Typically, because you spend a majority of your time with this person that you go home to every day, they're pretty much your best friend. So they confide in you and have this comfortability with you more, where they want to go home to you and make sure and have that knowing, like, okay, well, I know that he's at least going to be like, he's going to be there for me. He's going to be sensitive and like help me out or talk me through it. Just hold me or give me a hug or something that I need. But like, women, whether they want to believe it or not, we do still need men, no matter what they say. We do. As Haran had said, that they need to know exactly like what it is that they desire in that other person. And he's absolutely right. I think before anybody gets into a relationship, they just need to have full disclosure, being like, hey, this is what I look for in a relationship and out of my partner. Like, this is what I'm looking for. And the same thing for him or her. Like, they both need to do that, because if they're not going to be compatible in those things, or if one thing on their list, like, okay, yeah, I can do without that. Like, this is something that I value way more than that. It's different. But like, one, women can't cuddle themselves. They really can't. They buy those stupid pillows that look like guys and then they hug it. Like, women can't cuddle themselves. Women love to be cuddled for the majority. I've seen a few random ones that don't like to be cuddled, but I think that's because they hate their relationship. But women love to be cuddled. Women love men that actually know how to kiss well. Majority is if they're good kissers, they know how to kiss downstairs very well, but there are those few that actually don't know how to do that either. Having good dick game. I'm sorry. No amount of toy is the same as actually having a real man there with you. So unless you're not attracted to the opposite sex, you're fine. But if you're attracted to the opposite sex, you're going to want real dick. You're going to get tired of playing with a toy. Women need that from a man. Women really want strong masculine men. Why do you think women will leave their simp husbands or boyfriends or something like that, and they'll screw around with the Johnny Cash looking dude on a motorcycle or whatever? Because he's a badass. Because there's that sense of like feeling like protected and strong and masculine. There's something rough and rugged about him. Like, but yet he's a cuddly bear at the same time, just with you, but you feel protected when you're with him. Like, I know how to fight. Glenn knows that I can actually protect myself. Like, he's more worried about the other person if they ever try to approach me. But at the same time, me being a woman, I actually don't want to have to be put in that position to take care of myself if I didn't need to. Because one, I'm also not nearly as strong as a man. Like, Glenn can punch somebody in the face and it's a one-punch knockout. Like, I don't have that kind of game. I really don't. I really don't. So,
Not if it's trap day.
Hey, I'm just over here eating my watermelon. Okay, and not a racist joke. I like watermelon too.
Hey, look, man. I just to let you know, I love Johnny Cash.
Do you like watermelon?
That's just what happened.
Do you like
I
watermelon?
will kill you. I will literally. I will literally find you in your sleep. Anyway.
Hey, watermelon's good, bro. It's good for the soul.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it really is. Anyway, to Coco's point though, I'm glad she did say those things, because it's a very honest perspective. You know what I mean? A lot of women won't really be that honest, you know what I mean, when it comes to certain things. And you know what though? You know what, Coco? A lot of guys are, well, I guess we could call them simps or whatever, or incels. A lot of these guys really weren't told the truth by some women. They were manipulated. They weren't, you know what I mean, they weren't necessarily told, hey, I'm not into you. I'm not into you for XYZ reason. You know what I mean? And they were taken advantage of. They were led on. Not all of them. There's a number of them that are just batshit crazy. The fact that you were here, basically noting, you know what I mean, from an honest perspective, it shows integrity, and it really shows class, and it shows that you'd actually still, you know, you actually do care about the other person, you know, the other person's feelings. Now, with that being said, there's still these batshit incels that would still not take no for an answer, and they are what they are. But again, I commend you. I definitely commend you.
So here at this point, we're at 47 minutes. So, and I want to do less than an hour and a half tonight. because I got to go back and hit legs, bro.
Okay, I
rough today.
really didn't. I didn't really need to hear that.
Got to go hit legs. It's bad. Like I started doing legs earlier, and we went to this new gym today. Here's a total side note, everybody. So we went to this new gym, and it was like it's like a small mom pops gym, right? Like they're up and coming.
I
gym.
love those, man.
Same
I love
here.
those.
Like, dude, that's
Love
where I
those.
met Coco, and I banged her in the bathroom at.
Dude.
It's true. We know that story.
Okay. Dude.
Anyways, moving on from the story. You know, we love those small type of gyms. Like that's what we do.
Right.
We love those gyms, and especially if they're 24 hours. Like that's even better. Like you know, so we go, but they had no AC, and it's like 103 degrees out today.
Jesus. I mean, well,
And
I mean those mom and pop gyms, they rarely do have AC.
Bro, I'm on the pit shark. You know the belted squat.
Right.
And I get through that exercise and start doing leg press, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm done. It's just I'm overheating right now. So
Jesus. How
we're
often
like
do you do legs a week?
once a week now. Like
You do once a week.
Yeah, she does them 3 times a week.
I mean, women. I've seen women going there every day on legs, man.
Well, you know what? Like I tell women all the time, like if you want to build a butt, you need to hit legs at least 3 times a week. All right. If you want a butt, you got to build 3 times a week. Guys can get away with doing it once a week. All right.
Yeah.
If you do it right, because we're not focused on our butts. All right. We were focused on our
Right.
quads and our hammies
Right.
for the most part.
Right,
Butts are secondary, unless you're gay.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of gay guys that have amazing proportionate butts. Like a guy I know that I
man.
competed with.
Jesus.
What's his name? Oh my God! This black guy I competed with. He was a coworker of mine at the.
Oh my God.
What was his name? Damn it! Me and him both worked for the Navy.
The guy
At
with the butt. I
like-
guess you could call him that.
Yeah, the guy with the butt. Like he was a great buddy of mine. We worked out 3 or 4 times a week together because at the gym he was like the best competition for me. Even though he
Right.
was gay, like he was stacked. Like dude,
Right.
like he was stacked. Like man, like no homo. Dude was like cock diesel. If he was straight, he would be the biggest Chad ever. He would just destroy women.
Hey, look,
But he-
listen, dude. Listen, dude. Let's just call it what it is. Back in the 80s,
What does that say?
What is this one?
I get
Women
can't
love a
read
good
it.
ass. You said women love a good ass. Look, dude, like back in the 80s, those gay guys were ripped, bro.
Hey, like, can we bring back the old gay people? Like, seriously, like the modern gay guys, like they're not cool. Okay, can we bring back the old gay people? Okay, because those old gay heads, like, hey, they will kick your ass and take your cookies. Okay,
Those dudes were built like superheroes, man.
hey man, they had to be. Nowadays, they're all like, man. Anyways, this dude, he showed me this leg day exercise, and he does for legs and butts and stuff like that. And he was putting me through it, and it was the most grueling workout I've ever done for legs. It was a 100 squats, 100 leg curls, 100 leg press or leg extensions, 100 lunges, and 100 box jumps. And I kid you not, like he was not letting me quit, and I was afraid to fail because I'm like, if I
Nah,
quit,
you couldn't.
I was like, if I can't walk away from him, he might take my cookies. So
Exactly. Like
I-
you can't
But-
lose against a gay guy. I would
No.
never let you live it down.
no,
Never.
I made it through it. I mean, I struggled the whole way through it. But but what I was trying to get to is like, is that like, anyways, I gotta do legs. Anyways, but when we're talking, it's funny that we bring this up, is that the original, like the gay guys from the past, they were more masculine than men are now.
Yeah.
Did you notice,
Yeah.
like back in the day, like those gay guys, women still wanted to bang them. Like women
Yeah, I
were
know a
like,
couple of chicks who like I'd want to bang that gay guy.
like Ricky Martin still gets vagina thrown at him.
Yeah, actually it does.
I mean, upside, inside out. He's living la vida loca, but you know, he will still get. But the sad thing is that the modern man can't get that attention from women because they lack the understanding of how to be wanted. You know, and I think
I think that honestly, Glenn, I think we just don't call it what it is a lot of times when it comes to guys. I think we try to I think we try to pedestalize women when it comes to a lot of things. Like, look, women can be women can be hot and horny too, man. Like women can want a dude who's built like a fucking Adonis. He's hung down to his fucking ankles. He's whatever, and because as men, we think like, yeah, she's gotta have huge boobs, and she's a sexual object. Like women can look at a man and think he's a sex object, and
let
as
me tell you
men,
something. That's the most
sometimes as
truest
men, we're
thing.
like, no, women can't think like that. Like, no, they
No,
can think
no.
like that.
I've heard the most perverted things come out of the woman's mouth at the bottom of the screen.
Oh
I've
my
heard
goodness.
the most foulest shit, not in
Oh
the guy's
shit.
locker room, not in guy talk, coming out of that mouth right there.
Well, she's also Italian, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Costa
so-
Rican. She's all
Oh,
sorts
yeah.
of fucked up
Yeah.
in
so-
a good way.
look, listen, man. I used to date an Italian woman, and her grandmother. Jesus fucking Christ, man! I caught her grandmother saying some things the other day. I'm like, oh my god! No wonder there's like 12 of you. It's like,
No, her mom is just as bad. Like that's true. Like
like,
her mom is. I've been on the phone. I'm like, y'all know I'm still here, right? Like you
Like-
know I'm in the room. I hear all this. Like you can stop.
hey, look, listen. But I think as men, we don't think women think on a very primal level when it comes to attraction. We think that they just want this they just constantly want this knight in shining armor and this dad bod shit. I don't accept that shit from any woman. Like, what I mean? These women be like, oh, I prefer a dad bod. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I don't believe that shit. Like you'd prefer a dad bod in comparison to some dude built like Jason Momoa. Like, come on, you'd say like, oh yeah, that Al Bundy.
You just said Coco's trigger word.
What dad bod? That's her
No,
thing.
Jason Momoa.
That's the secret word. Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's like her mind is all over. She's thinking Aquaman right now.
Holy shit! That's what it is for you, Coco.
I mean, you have to admit he looks a little bit like Glenn.
Jen is the Rock. Jesus Christ! If you say Dwayne Johnson around Jen, like she goes somewhere for like a good 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean he's actually really nice too. I used to have a crush on him when I used to actually watch him go and wrestle, when I'd actually be there watching him wrestle when he was way back in the day. But no, thank you for the compliment earlier.
All right.
I have a comment. Like, okay, so I agree with you, Ron. Like, men think for some reason that women can't sexualize men. I mean the ones that aren't whores.
Right.
And because I'm not a whore, I'm actually in that category. Like, even though as big as a freaking pervert that I am,
Mhm.
I don't have a lot of people that I've actually been with, which is shocking.
Good.
But I mean, also because I know my value and I know what guys like, and I'm not just that person that's just gonna spin my bicycle wheels down the whole block. Like, that's just not me. Because men are like a man that I know that I want is not going to value me knowing that I slept with the whole neighborhood. Yeah, it's cute when you're 17 and you're a dude
Right.
and that makes every girl on this block. But like, a real woman isn't gonna want that either. Because one, I'd be like, I don't. Because I'd be like, ew, like, what do you have? And it's still attached. Like, I'd be afraid. I'm surprised that thing hasn't fallen off by now. Like, I don't want nothing. I don't even want that near me. You have to get tested every month. There's just no way. But like, there are women actually, surprisingly, that do not find masculine man attractive. My friend, good friend Katie, is one of them. Like, she had like the very curvaceous body,
Mhm.
It was thicker, but it was very curvaceous, and muscular men really liked that. And
Right.
she would not want to date them. She liked guys with dad bods. To her,
Wow.
that is sexy. She's like, because what that shows to me is that even though they aren't in shape, but like he wasn't overweight or anything, you know, he just had a
Right.
dad belly, even though he wasn't a dad yet. But like,
Right.
she's like, that shows me he's a hard worker. He has his priorities in place, and he's comfortable within his own skin, and he still thinks that he's sexy because also what he has to offer, regardless of having to hit the gym to show me, oh yeah, because I look this way, that's the only thing I have of value. She goes, a hardworking man rarely actually has a body that looks like The Rock or Jason.
Right.
So for her,
unless it's their job,
her,
unless it's literally their job to look like that.
right, exactly. But like everyday normal men, it's a lot of work. Even for women, it's a lot of work, especially for women, because it's a lot easier for men. But like it's a lot of work to get yourself in a good physical position. But like, one, you do it for yourself, but two, because you want someone of equal value to you.
Right.
And so for her, she's like, a man that isn't completely chiseled out, it shows me that he's just a meathead that hits the gym all the time and he doesn't have his priorities straight. Whether he goes to the gym once a week or twice a week and he's still a little sloppy a little bit, she goes, but to me, that's sexy because it shows that he works hard. Like his priorities are in place and it's not like my
I can understand that.
Is over living.
I can understand that. Okay, so can you, all right, that perspective, is it safe to say that is the perspective of a mature woman, an older woman, we can say, like, you know what I mean? I
Will you mean just like what? Would you mean like a certain age or just like
right? That's what I'm saying. Like,
okay.
yeah, I mean, like of a certain age, like, you know what I mean? Because if usually I know if a woman is in her 20s or in some degree maybe her early 30s, okay, she's not necessarily prone to the dad bod yet, because
unless she has daddy issues.
Right. You know what I mean? But as she gets older, I usually notice that's the woman who, especially if she has kids of her own and she's looking for a partner, you know what I mean? In regards like that, that's the ones that I see are the ones who are prone to the dad bod, you know what I mean? The dad bod situation.
No,
What? Oh, am I muted? I'm muted. Oh, I'm not muted.
Yeah, you need to mute it. Thank you. No, that actually is true. I think it's because, like, perfect example, my sister. Okay, my poor sister. She's been divorced, I think, for like 8 years now, and he was an absolute crapshoot. Like the guy was prostituting himself. He was doing drugs. He was stealing. She had no idea that he was doing any of this. And like continued to do this, and then she left during her pregnancy of her third kid with him. He was psychotic. Ran her over, tried to drag her on the car because she found him on the side of the road high.
Wow.
So she got out of there, and my sister now has 3 kids. Like she's had 3 kids by herself for 8 years. Never had help from him. She did it all by herself. Granted, my parents did help a lot, but like still, I mean, like doing what she had to do for her kids. But like my sister, she's now looking for somebody because now that she's got herself more financially established, like I said, she has a home, she has a big savings account, her kids are getting older.
Oh yeah.
She's realistic. Like she is. Because like you said earlier, what she wants companionship. Like, I don't need him to necessarily be the father of my kids. She goes, I want somebody for me. I also would like to have a father, like a man figure. It doesn't have to be father, but somebody from my 2 boys that they can look up to and that they could talk to. But my sister, she's looking for dudes right now. So she's trying like not a hoe one, like eHarmony or Match or something like that. Like the ones like Christian Eagle or something like that. And yeah, so she's trying something like that. But I was like, okay, well, what do you like in your guys? Like, I'm helping her fill out her profile just because I'm way better with wording than she is. And I'm like, you need to be honest on this stuff. Don't like have people be shocked about certain things. Be as 100% honest about yourself. And so I was like, what are you looking for in like the guy? And so she was like, honestly, there's like, do you want him like this big? Do you want him athletic? Do you want him this, like categorized? And she's like, no. She goes, as long as he like works out so we can work out together like 2 or 3 days a week, you know? She goes, but I don't need him muscular. She goes, I kind of like a little bit of like the dad bod a little bit. obviously not super overweight because that's not healthy.
Right.
But like
Of course,
him being a
right.
little bit more of like a dad, she goes, I find that sexy because it also shows, again, she said the same thing that Katie did. Priorities. His kids and his family and his lifestyle for home come first over, I need to go to the gym 7 days a week and I don't care what that sacrifice is. So for her,
Right.
it's also that comfortability because she's like, we have that equal value because she's not the kind of girl that's like, I want a 6 foot with 6-pack abs, 6 digits. She doesn't want that because she's like, I don't even have that. I can't ask for something that I can't provide for myself.
Right. Oh.
So I think women, after they have kids, I think that's the circumstances. Like, I don't have kids. I can't have kids. So if I had kids, I couldn't expect myself to just like walk up to Glenn in a gym and be like, what's up, big daddy? Like, there's no way that I could do that. I mean, I have the boldness to actually do it because of the way that I look. But if I had a little minion running around, I probably wouldn't happen. But
right.
I mean, like, because I don't have kids, even though I'm in my late 30s, but like, I look good. I have a good personality. I don't have a high body count. Like, I know that if we weren't together, that I wouldn't be looking for somebody with a dad bod. I want somebody to equally match me. So I think a woman becomes more realistic of her expectations, but it needs to not be the toxic kind where they're settling. Because let's say she goes with that guy because she settled because her expectations were lower. She was being realistic. But let's say she had an opportunity where a guy, for some reason, that was not like her partner, and then comes on in and she's like, oh, just fantasizing, and then he makes a comment towards her, then it can go south. Like, a woman needs to be committed with her realistic expectations to make sure that she doesn't go outside the relationship.
I think that, when it comes, like, since we're bringing up the dad bod conversation, I think women that want the dad bod are also women that know their SMV is not up to par for anything more than anything more than the dad bod.
Well, they're hitting that Kush.
Oh no,
that Cali Kush, man.
No, but like I really think, like, for women, they're like, and also there are women that don't want to have competition. Okay, they don't want a man that looks good. That looks too good. Okay, they want a man that looks good, but not too good, because they don't want him to have options. So, I mean, I think that it's a both. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I like a man that puts his family first and stuff like that. It's on the gym every 7 days a week. But it's also like, what? I also don't want him to look too good, and I don't have to worry about other women liking him. Or giving him options that I don't have.
Because I'm not going in the gym.
So I think it's a mixture of 50-50 in that. I think it's like, because as she said, like, if a woman is like, out of shape herself, and how can she be demanding the 6-pack abs when she got 6 packs of rolls? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, Coco's not out of shape at all. I mean,
no.
It's apparent, and you know what I mean? And from my perspective, it just makes sense for a guy like Glenn to be involved with her, because it's like, I mean, she's her own person, but I wouldn't think like, oh yeah, I can see her with a guy with a dad bod, and it would just be like, I don't know, I mean, that looks like something that would be on the clock. That looks like something that would be on the clock if it happened.
Hey, you know what? The most realist thing she ever told me was, I told her, if I got fat, what would you still love me? She's like, I'll still love you, but I don't know if I would be able to have sex with you.
No, look, listen.
And that's the most truest thing, and guys need to hear that. Like, that's reality.
We don't do that as men. We don't do that as men. We think, I'll say this right here, and the biggest contradiction, and I tell guys this, a lot of times, and we're fucking lying half the time, Coco, men are bigger romantics than women.
Absolutely.
Okay, we are bigger fucking romantics.
Yes.
Like
women love opportunistically, men love idealistically. Every romantic movie that has ever been successful was written by a man.
And it's just it is what it is. And because as men, we're like, well, if I gain 70 pounds, she'll love me anyway. Yeah, she'll love you. She
She
probably
don't want
won't
to
want your
fuck you.
penis. She probably won't want your penis after a while, but she'll love you to death. She'll ask if you ate right after she just sucked the other guy's penis at her gym. At her gym.
Why are you bringing up the gym?
Keyword gym. You know what I mean?
Who's
So,
this gym guy?
you know what I mean? So, but I tell dudes all the time, like, look, listen, when I was talking with Glenn Coco, you know what I mean? I already knew what it was. You know what I mean? When I was talking with Glenn and, he was showing me his transformation photos. And I asked, I was like, all right, just tell me how it was once you got shredded. Like what did the DMs look like? What was it like? Because I already knew, like, look,
the same thing.
Like, look, listen, because for me personally, off season version of Heron cannot fuck with shredded Heron on any given Sunday when it comes to the chicks, because it's like, you can still be. I'm not saying like, yeah, I'm, an ugly dude or anything like that. But when you're shredded and you're
It's like you're pulling
everything-
7/8s, but when you're shredded, you're pulling 9s and 10s.
exactly, it's a completely. You put it this way: shredded version of me doesn't have to say much.
No, but
You know
it's
what I
also an unrealistic expectation.
It is though.
Or
It
like
is though,
men
because
to
nobody
maintain
can. The diet you got to be on to be fucking shredded all the fucking time. That shit is like, look, man, fuck this shit. I want a burger. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to eat bird food and drink all this fucking water, man. You know what I mean?
No, it's crazy, and people don't realize, like, people don't realize how much work it takes to get into the gym. I want to do a little change of direction here, because this is actually really funny, and I already talked to Haran about this and Coco earlier. But call me misogynist, but I have a question about our current political state with our current politicians in office. I'm going to share a screen. So this is a senator, Tiara Mack. She's twerking for votes. Is this what women leadership looks like?
Ironically speaking,
I mean, we always know that in every protest, in every feminine march, women get naked. Okay, look around the world. Every time they're protesting abortion, women are topless and they're showing their goodies. And now it's gotten to the point where they're twerking for votes. How are we supposed to take them seriously at this point?
Ironically,
in reality, because that's like your side of the water. Like that's what your area, Haran. Like, I mean, I know you in New York or New Jersey, but like that's your area, bro. That's like the East Coast thing.
Well, here's the thing, man. When you look at situations like this, you say to yourself, ironically speaking, there are men and women who died for this woman to have the right to basically twerk for votes. When you actually put things into perspective, and you just say to yourself, like, wow, man, there are people who actually gave their lives, for freedom. And the American concept of it, I guess we can say, to some degree, which is debatable. Anyway, but the point here that I'm making is that everything in social media has just become so much of a popularity contest, where where it's as if we can't even sit down and discuss how we can actually work on infrastructure. We can actually work on discuss the issues that are affecting us, locally and thereby nationally. No, we gotta do dumb shit. Like, twerk for votes and ask Cardi B what she thinks about, the next presidential hopeful. And when I saw it, it's like, first of all, this can't be real. I had to like, I thought, no, seriously, I had to look it up. I was like, no, wait, but this is really, did this really happen? Like this,
Yeah,
is she
Glenn told me
really?
that, and I was like, "That's not real." And he's like, "No, here's the video." I didn't believe it either.
Like, yeah, I was like, wait a minute, this woman's a politician, really? Like, she doesn't play one on television. Like, this is someone who's actually twerking for votes. And like I said, that was a horrible twerk.
Well, it makes
Horrendous.
me like ask the question, like, why were we mad at Anthony Weiner for sending dick pics then?
Whoa, wait. First of all, a guy called Anthony Weiner sending dick pics will never not be funny.
Oh, I know. But
I
I
mean,
mean, he was the
that
senator,
shit
I
will
think, of New
never.
York.
Yeah, he was the senator of New York. I actually saw him. I actually saw him.
You saw the Wiener?
No. Well, I actually saw Anthony Weiner. So technically speaking, I saw the Wiener. So I actually saw him walking through New York maybe a week after he was either, his power was taken and so on and so forth, whatever. And he kind of looked like a guy. He was like, yeah, that guy's a wiener shower. Yeah, I can see this guy. This guy's a weirdo. You know what I mean? But here's the thing about Anthony. His situation. Guys can't do that shit, man. No one
I
should
think if
do
a
that
woman
shit.
can do it,
No
a guy
one,
should
no
be able
one
to do
should
it.
do
It's
that
not fair.
shit. No one should do that shit. Okay, no one should do that shit at all. But men specifically, like, you shouldn't be running around here grabbing pussies. You know what I mean? It's just not. It's just like, dude, like, do you hear like
Nick's answers. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at
Glenn?
Nick's answers right now. He's like, I probably vote for her actually just because she looks happy, healthy, and not a cardboard cutout, soulless politician. She seems like a free spirit, not someone that's controlled by establishment. I find that funny, Nick. I mean, it's great. But here's the thing. Here's the problem with it. Like, men should know that they can't be sending dick pics, or look at it this way. As I said, when women protest, they get naked.
Mhm.
All right, but how many of those women have to register as sex offenders now? None of
Absolutely
them.
none.
But if Haran goes to the park and he has to take a leak and he pulls out his magic stick and he pees on a bush by a playground in the middle of the dark, in the middle of the night, he's going to be arrested and have to be registered as a sex offender.
Oh, there's gonna be a lot there's gonna be a lot of scared faces too if I did that shit.
But what I'm saying is, like, it's appropriate for women to get naked and to show their ass, but men
I wouldn't
can't.
necessarily say appropriate. What I will say is that there is a double standard.
Well, when
For
we have a
example,
politician twerking, it's appropriate because she hasn't been chastised. She hasn't been dealt with. Like, she hasn't lost her position in the Senate. She's been praised for her heroic feat of twerkage on a handstand. So it is appropriate. I mean, society has said it's appropriate for women to behave this way.
well, here you got to look at it like this, Glenn. Again, there yes, there are double standards in our society when it comes to men and women. We cannot absolve that. We cannot ignore that. That woman, she did what she did, and it's disgusting. It's deplorable. it shows an immense degree of lack of self-respect. But at the very most, she would not be taken seriously. She just committed career suicide when she doesn't actually win. But I tell you one thing: if Heron actually, held the press conference and I ripped the slong out and put it on the table and said, "I got the inches to take America to the next level," I'm out of here, bro. All right, that's not cute. That's not. It's not
I mean,
gonna go down. It's
the
not
only
gonna
way
go
I see
down like
it
it went
working
down
for
for
her,
this chick.
only way I see it working for her is if like the next world war is a twerk off. Like, okay, are we twerking against Russia? Are we going to twerk against China? I mean, have you seen some of those Chinese hip hop dancers? They got moves. I don't know if we can out twerk them. All right, Coco, what are your thoughts? Because I know your brain is spinning. I can see it in your eyes.
Well, I think what Haran said is actually true, that there's it's a popularity contest. And I don't think that I agree with Haran that it's not appropriate, but I think the word is that it's accepted. There's a difference between it actually being appropriate and it just being accepted, because that's how women have just shown themselves to be this way for the last, I don't know how many years, that men are like, well, that's just how they're going to be. So yes, there's a double standard because a guy can't do that. But guys are like, well, okay, I guess that's accepted. It's not appropriate, but it's accepted for them to do that and not to have any repercussions. But it sucks because what she's doing is basically everything else that women are doing today. It makes her no better than anybody else, because like Ron said, it's a popularity contest. And that's all that all these social media and bullcrap is. It's a popularity contest. Like, people have to sexualize themselves. Even men that are like ripped and all this stuff, they're sexualizing themselves. They're trying to get as many followers and popular as possible on social media, like showing their bodies. Women do the same thing. I had a dude come up to me at the gym, Dakota, and Dakota was talking about his followers, and I'm like, dude, why are you so worried about your followers? And he was like, well, because I'm sponsored. Okay, I can get that, for motorcycles. And I was like, I don't care about my followers. I don't have that many. And he's like, you don't? And I was like, no, I have like 300. And he was like, you could get a lot more if you actually just showed a little bit more skin. And I was like, I'm not that girl. And he was like, no. He goes, I mean, just you working out at the gym. He goes, you're in really good shape. He goes, all you have to do is just take like muscular booty pics or you doing something. And he's like, you don't have to wear a full t-shirt. Just wear your crop top and your pants. He goes, you know how many guys and women will actually fled wanting to be that, like, just because even though yours is more appropriate for social media. But it's like, I won't allow myself to do that. Like, yes, I am very fit. I'm a size 0. I'm small, but I'm firm. I am firm. Like, I am a small person. So I've always been a small person and just leaned because I used to compete. So it's like, I take a lot of pride in myself. But I won't allow myself to let my social media be a popularity contest, because also what does that do? It attracts people that you wouldn't actually really associate anyway. So all you're looking for is a number, and like Ron said, popularity contest. That's all this lady is doing. She's trying to sexualize herself, and she's not even in that great of shape. Like, yeah, Nick says, like, oh, she seems like a free spirit, and she looks happy and healthy. Yeah, but you know what they say, like, when you're in a marriage, you can tell when they're happy because they're fat. So they're we're fat.
Yeah.
But like,
here's the question though. What does that do? Because I can't take women serious. I can't take this woman seriously. I really can't.
As you shouldn't.
I can't. Like, she is our political leader. I can't take her seriously.
But
I really can't.
But in some regard, to play off of Coco's point, as men, even as politicians, I was having a discussion with someone about appearance, the importance of appearance. You know what I mean? And if you're in media, in any regard, I mean, this goes from the politician to the weather person. You got to have a look, and if you're a president, especially if you're a presidential hopeful, I mean, there's so many boxes you got to tick, in order to even be considered a hopeful, not to be president, but to be considered a hopeful. I mean, you got to be in a particular degree of shape to be a presidential hopeful. You don't got to be ripped. I mean, you don't want to be somebody that's, it's not relatable at all. You got to be in fucking shape. You got to have you got to have the family, the dog, the struggle story. You got to look great on camera. There's just so many things that go into your appearance in order to be considered a leader that has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not you can do the job.
Yeah, you have to look the part. You have to look the part.
To Coco's point, here's the kicker of what she could do. Like she could actually make a killing off of social media and not even being in the gym that much. She could just be in there yeah, I'm in there once or two, and there's people like that. You know that, Glenn. There's people in the gym man, and they got awesome fucking genetics. I give it to them. They don't got to be in the gym until like maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but they still look heavily fucking ripped. But they're taking photos, they're doing all kinds of fucking shit. It's really a fucking, it's really a show for them. But they're making bread online, man, with that shit. I can't be mad at it. That's
no,
what
it's funny. It's crazy that the gym, before the gym was cluttered with weights. Now the gym is cluttered with camera stands.
It is, man. Like
I go to the gym.
I almost knocked over a fucking camera stand. I was trying to do a fucking deadlift. Okay, and you know how it is when you're about to do a fucking deadlift. You gotta have complete fucking concentration, or you throw your fucking back out. You know what I mean? I'm over here. I'm grabbing the deadlift and shit. I'm psyching myself up for this shit. And I almost knocked into a fucking stand. I literally lost my shit. I'm like, bro, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking shitting me right now?
He was probably just trying to get his curls in, huh?
And that's what it was. He was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, dude, get that shit away from me, man, before you get us both hurt.
No, it's
crazy.
You
know what? That's the other thing that I guess a lot of people don't get who are in the gym that much anymore. Like the two of you get it. The gym is a very dangerous fucking place. It's a very dangerous fucking place. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you can hurt yourself. You can hurt someone else. I mean, literally, critically hurt another human being or hurt yourself. Like, you know what I mean? And
bro, I stop people from hurting themselves or hurting other people. Like, I'm at the gym the other day, and I see this guy coaching his mom how to do curls on the cable machine. And she's about to smash the mirror because he's having her use a lat pull down bar. And I'm just like, no, stop. And then he was having her do the squat or the leg press where she's like really lightweight, but jumping in the leg press. What? Yeah, jumping.
Fuck?
And changing her feet position. I'm like, you're gonna hurt yourself. Don't listen to him. I mean, I stop my workout to tell people all the time, like, look, you're about to it's
die.
No,
you're about to die.
Seriously. And like, when we go to the gym, like when me and Coco go to the gym, we don't really we don't go for social hour. We don't talk to people.
Absolutely.
Like people will come and talk to us, whatever, that's fine, we'll say what's up. But I'm lifting some god awful weight. Like, okay, I'm pressing 150s, 125s. Okay, right. Like I don't need you talking to me. The last thing I need you to do is be around me, because when I'm done with this set, I'm not setting it down gently. I'm throwing this bitch away from me. Okay,
right, exactly.
And if you're in the vicinity, you're gonna get hurt. Okay,
exactly.
And it's like, but people, I don't know, like it's every time someone corrected me in the gym over the years, I've been grateful for it. You should. I mean, the greatest information and wisdom I have learned are by other people watching me do it wrong, and they took the time to teach me. I've had some great bodybuilding coaches, some great fellow competitors that are seasoned vets, that are pros now, that carried me underneath their wing to help me get to where I wanted to be. No, take the advice. That's the greatest thing you could do, and always be grateful for it. Because the one thing about the gym is that you will never know all of it. You will never know every
Not at all.
exercise or every variation of the exercise that hit the muscle. So when somebody gives you some little tokens of wisdom, put that in your tool belt and run with it and be thankful because they didn't have to. Because you have these trainers, trying to charge you a ridiculous amount of money for that same type of knowledge. So be extremely privileged. Realize how privileged you are for people doing that. But back to I want to tie this all up here. Put a bow on it. But I want to make a point about the twerker, the twerking politician. This is a problem I see for if we don't correct this, like women are not going to be taken seriously. And if we have more politicians that do this, or more women leaders do that, or women think that it's acceptable, maybe not acceptable or prohibited, but it's like not not a punishable. How about that? If it becomes non-punishable to behave this way, then we can't take you seriously to put you in a leadership role. And if you want to have equal rights, or if you want to have equal authority as men in these elected offices, then we have to hold you to the same standard that we hold men to. And no man twerking, no elected official twerking or swinging his dick around would be elected or be accepted. He would have to resign immediately.
Well, he would get arrested. Yes, he would be arrested.
He had to be arrested and resign. So I think that this twerking politician should, in my opinion, do the right thing and step down from office and remove herself and save face, because she disgraced her office, in my opinion. But back to the topic, men struggling with not being needed. I think let's go around. Let's give everybody give 2 ways that men could revert from being needed to being wanted. How? And I want to start with Coco, because Coco, you're a woman. You know what? You don't need a man, but you want a man. So what's the difference for you? Like, how can a man be wanted when he's not needed?
I guess I go back to the list that I even said earlier. No, I don't need a man, but I want a man. I'm a very sexual person. I need a man to have sex. So I'm not going to stay with somebody like that I'm not sexually compatible with. Because even if you're in a short-term or long-term relationship, because if it's short-term, it's probably because most of the time they weren't good and the sex wasn't good anyways. Like, sex ties a lot of the stuff together because it's on a deeper level. So for me, I need to be sexually compatible with that person. Because if I'm not happy with sex, I'm not going to be happy in the relationship. That's just how I am. So sex is a huge thing for me. And it is for a lot of women. Like, also women that want families. You need to be able to have a man that you can enjoy having sex with, not just like in the old days when people got betrothed and they didn't like them, but they just did the deed because they needed to have kids. So they had a lineage. I can't speak for most women because I'm not like most women. I am very old fashioned. I am not a modern day woman. I don't believe any of this crap that modern day women are doing. For me, I believe in the old traditional household. If a man that's masculine and strong I can do everything around the house. I am very crafty. I've done that a lot myself. But having a man, if I say something like, oh crap, this is broken. He's like, oh, I go to get my tool set. He's like, oh no, it's okay, I got it. Go ahead. I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, guy, simple as like mowing a yard. And I want to bring him out lemonade on Arnold Palmer and Daisy Dukes in a crop top just because I think it's sexy that he's out there sweating with his shirt off mowing the grass. Like, it's stupid, simple stuff like that.
Stop talking about my father.
I haven't seen your father mow the grass, but I just think it's super sexy like that. A man that let's say I have a full-time job and I can provide my own money, but he's like, hey, you don't need to work a full-time job, because his value as me, as his wife or his partner, is like, hey, the things that I value most is I just like to have my meals cooked, my laundry done, the house clean. If you want to work a part-time job or go to school, you're more than welcome to do that, because I know people need to socialize and it gives us fun money. But I want to be able to take care of you. The biggest thing is me that I find desirable in a man where I want to be with that man is a man that shows he has every desire to want to take care of me, knowing full well that I can take care of myself, but he doesn't want me to have to do that because he sees value in the other things that I could also give him that I do give him, and he wants that to be my sole focus. That to me is what I find desirable in a man.
Ron, what do you think is and thank you, Coco, for talking about me like that. So amazing of you. You know, I'll give you some time later. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, she's about to kick my ass. Anywho, Haran, what are some tools that men could do to change from being needed to being wanted?
The first thing that you have to do, you have to want yourself, not in a weird, touchy feely way, but I mean in in terms of actually seeing the value in yourself first, internally. Then you externally has to it has to reflect that. Meaning that, hey, look, man, if you think you're shit internally, and you believe that and you understand your value, you should exercise that. You should want to be desired. You should look desirable. Now, there's times when, like, look, even the best of us, okay. I think this is another reality that as men we don't talk about. Even the best of us, we go through tough times when you might not look like the guy that you used to look like. You know what I mean? Or you fuck it, you fell off. You lost your way. It happens. Look, man, if you go to war enough, you're gonna blow a fucking foot off. You're gonna you're gonna get you're gonna get PTSD if you're in the field long enough. Don't let anyone tell you, if you're in the field long enough, it's gonna wear on you. But those are the times and the moments where you have to say to yourself, okay, yeah, this is what happened, this is what occurred, but I need to get back to my center again. I need to get back to my core values. And when you get back to your core values and you exude that, and you say, these are my core values, this is what I'm offering, so on and so forth, someone's going to desire that. Someone is going to desire that. Granted, again, if it is desirable, and I think we need to, again, we need to really have these very, we need to remove ourselves from romanticizing about women and understand that, yeah, they don't dream about teddy bears. They dream about big brutish stallions who bend them over a barrel and have their way with them. Yes, your girl can think that way. You want to be the guy who is the guy who puts over the barrel. Hopefully, you want to be that guy. But I don't think men take the time out to think about women in that regard. But yeah, they want those things too. And when you do that, when you understand that, and you understand human, female nature and bits of human nature, then you can be a lot more realistic about the things you can do and how you can make yourself desirable. Another thing too is that after you've done all of these things, you have to remain on your square. You have to be stubborn. There are not enough stubborn men in the world. There are enough psychotic men at the moment in time. There are enough victims, but there are not enough stoic and stubborn men in the world. We need to get back to stoic and stubborn men who say that this is what it is, this is what I'm going, this is where I'm going with it. If we crash on the way there, fuck it. Far too often I see guys flip flopping because they just want to look like the smartest guy in the room, or they're afraid to push back and blah blah blah. Like, no, man, stay on your square. So yo, those at the very core level, if you can get those things down, you're pretty much better off than 80 to 85% from most men. If you can just get that shit down, man, because trust me, man, if you can get that down, most of the time you won't have problems with women.
Yeah.
It's really, I just want to say one thing, Glenn. After talking to women, older women, mature women, women, after really having a conversation with a lot of them, it's really not that hard to get women as much as we think it is, man. It's really not that much. Shower, get a job, cut your fucking hair. I mean, know how to do basic human shit. You know what I mean? These chicks aren't asking you to be Bruce Wayne after time. They're not asking you to be the son of Jor-El. They're not asking you to be all of these things. A lot of times as men, we say like, oh, she wants you to be all these things. Like, nah, she just really wants you to keep your fucking fingernails clean. She wants you to fucking take out the trash if there's like 3 bags in this bitch. You know what I mean? It's just like just regular basic shit. And you'd be surprised just how well off you actually will be in the relationship. Let's take care of the basics first, fellas. Let's save all the pyrotechnics for later. Let's just get the basics down.
I totally agree, and I think to add to what both of you guys are saying, I think men need to become durable. And if you have a hard time becoming durable, go to durable.com. Thor will help you become durable. He's a good friend of mine. You catch me on his Sunday podcast, RP Thor, right here on YouTube. But definitely become durable. Women are naturally, fragile. Men are supposed to be durable. That doesn't mean physically. That means mentally, emotionally, physically durable. If you are more emotional than your chick is, you got a problem. All right. The other thing is, Jordan Peterson said this, and I find it really interesting, is that men need to be monsters. Not the scary monsters that will go around and rape and pillage women. Not saying that. I'm saying that, you know what? When needed, I could break somebody's arm, no problem.
Of course.
I have my monster is on a leash, but I control the leash.
Absolutely.
Okay? I could set that monster off when I need to, if I need to. But there's not a lot of men out there that could be monsters. They have been feminized to be like Care Bears.
Yes.
All right? And you can stand there doing the Care Bear stare all you want, but when you're fighting Thanos, your little Care Bear stare ain't going to do shit.
Pretty much.
But a lot of guys don't realize that. Women love... Okay, here's a funny thing. So, when me and Coco first met, she told me I look like a Greek god. Now, I did at the time. And she called me, she said I look like Thanos. Or not Thanos, Taurus. The Greek god Taurus. Now, I looked that motherfucker up. And he was the ugliest of gods. But the biggest, stackedest, rippedest son of a bitch there was. I mean, he had a rock ugly face. But that motherfucker nobody was destroying him. And then to realize he was like the leader of the third layer of hell, and he kept all the bad motherfuckers locked up down there. Like he was the real deal.
Look, listen, Glenn. Rasputin was out here running through everything, brother.
But
and that motherfucker was ugly as shit.
Hell yeah. But you know what is funny is think about it. Who mentioned Bruce Wayne? You mentioned Bruce Wayne, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was fantasizing over Bane.
Yeah, they were. A lot of chicks I knew.
A lot of chicks loved Bane. They didn't like Bruce Wayne.
like, dude, I was dating a chick at the time, and she was a gym head too. Great, great body. But anyway, you know what I mean. And she was really into fucking Bane, and she was like, yeah, you know, she was like, one of the reasons why I like your body because you look like Bane, like you know, because the way that Tom Hardy worked out, he had more of a strong man physique.
He had a power
He did-
lifter physique,
yeah, he had a power lifter physique, which was perfect
which was great.
for the role,
Yeah.
which was perfect for the role. And but a lot of chicks they fucked with Bane. And I didn't see that coming. I did not see it coming. I thought, Bruce, and you know how it is, you know what I mean. But chicks fucked with him.
No, women don't want Bruce Wayne. 80% of the guys are trying to be Bruce Wayne. The 20% of being
because we're told
successful
that.
are Bane.
We're told that, yeah, you got to get up and be Bruce Wayne. That's what we're told.
Look, everybody
You know what I
loves
mean?
Wolverine.
Yeah,
Every girl
yeah,
loves Wolverine.
yeah, you're absolutely right.
So it's be the monster.
Right.
Not in the sense of like you're this disgusting monstrosity looking thing,
Right.
but be the monster. Be her monster.
Right.
Is really what a woman wants to be able to see and look at you like, this man could protect me. Not only protect me, he could protect everything. If your woman doubts whether or not that you could be protecting them or protecting their investment or them and you, she's not going to be into you. All right. So guys, I mean, I know people say, oh, the gym. I'm telling you right now, a good 80% of your success with women will be what your success is in the gym. And if you approach the gym like you are going in there to conquer the fucking world, women will see that and they will notice that. They may not talk to you, but they will talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like women talk, guys, I'm telling you, women are dirty. They talk to their girlfriends about guys all the time.
All the time.
Okay? So, I mean, be the monster on your leash. Okay, and women like that. Like I can tell you right now, one of the things that Coco loves about me is that she knows that like if someone ever tried to do anything, like I'll snap them. It's easy. It's not even a second thought. Like we even talked about it. We had an issue with a guy not too long ago, and I was like, look, this guy is so lucky. I didn't snap his neck, but women love that sense of protection. So you have to be a monster. A knight in shining armor is cute, but a monster is something is respected.
You know what's really funny? I don't know if you ever watched the show Lucifer. If you ever saw it before. Okay.
Every woman loves that devil.
Yeah, look, listen, there was this one scene that even I was like, holy shit, that's fucking badass. He was he there was this one scene where it was like maybe the season finale, and basically all the demons in hell came up to the surface. Okay. And he was trying to get them all back down, you know what I mean, to hell. He was having an issue, having a problem. Now it just so happens his girl shows up, okay? His chick shows up, and all these fucking demons are climbing on top of her. And she's screaming for Lucifer to save her and all this other shit. This dude Lucifer gets on the fucking stage and he turns into the fucking devil. All 7-foot red giant fucking bat wings, and tells motherfuckers, leave now. And everyone leaves now. Essentially tells them to bow down. And it's in that moment where I said to myself, like, see, that's the shit right there. That's the shit that when a woman is in some sort of distress, or a lot of times, every woman has told me she has never resisted a man who has got on his square and just handled the shit. Just handled the shit, and the problem was fixed And I think that a lot of brothers and a lot of men need to understand the importance of that, how to actually just get the shit done.
Yeah,
No questions asked.
it's like, it's in men's nature to be that way.
Right.
We're prone to violence. Okay, we have to accept
Absolutely.
that. We have to accept that we
Absolutely.
are prone to violence. But
Absolutely.
that's what makes men men. What makes us civilized is being gentlemen, knowing
Right.
when to release that violence,
Right.
knowing when that violence is necessary. And there's a lot of guys masquerading around here, quick to violence, but they don't know when to release it. And that's why we see these ridiculous school shootings, these ridiculous shootings out in the community.
Absolutely.
Because these are not men; these are just violence. These are not men that have men. Real men know how to control violence. Men know when to exercise violence and when not to. And that's just what real men know. And I think that women love a man that has control of violence, that has mastered violence, in the sense that she knows that he will be a protector. And one more thing I would just say, for guys is that if you want to be better with women, have standards. A lot of guys don't have standards anymore. And how can a woman respect you when she realizes that you don't even have standards to respect? So, but let's go around one more time. What's going on? Haran, are you doing any other podcasts this week or?
Right now, honestly, I'm trying to get offline for a little bit because these next 3-4 months, bro, I gotta shred down, man. I gotta shoot in October. So I don't really got that much fucking time. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep you updated, you know what I mean, and show you and shit like that. But I was thinking of I want to get your opinion on certain protocols and certain shit I want to try. But I'll let you know. But yeah, October I wanna do a shoot. So I gotta really be fucking locked in, man. I gotta hit the gym hard.
Yeah, hit me up, man. I'd love to help you out with that and give you some tips and stuff that I know. Coco, you're gonna do another podcast. You just started a podcast recently. Tell us where they can find you and if you have an upcoming show you're gonna do talking about.
So my podcast is called Pillow Talk by Coco. You can find it on YouTube. Yeah, I did one. I'm going to be doing another one. I'm just not sure yet. I have to, between my work schedule and my school schedule, I'm trying to lock in like a specific day each week on when I'm going to do one show. So yeah, but I want to make one last comment that you guys were talking about the whole like Bane and I forget the other character, but there's a common factor that I don't know if men realize. Because yes, a woman loves a man that has control of violence. Like he knows when he needs to be violent. But the common denominator in those characters, even Thanos and even Taurus, the god that's in charge of, it's basically like purgatory. So there's Hades, who's like the guy that's in charge of people going into purgatory. Taurus is in charge of purgatory, and he keeps everybody down there. The common denominator of all of these amazing masculine men is that they are violent as hell. But all of them have also stated that they don't want to be this violent.
Right.
They have no desire to be violent.
Right.
But that is what they're being called to do because the circumstances are calling them to be that way. So a woman, there's nothing sexier than a man that you know can actually take care of you and himself, but also at the same time knows how to be the biggest teddy bear within your relationship. And I mean like staying within the man's frame, but I mean like that he, like even Bane, he had that adoration for that person he was looking after, which nobody knew about, but he did this for her.
Right.
Like he
and here this guy was a complete psychopath. He's a complete fucking psychopath.
Exactly, but he did that because of her. So like that's what women love is the fact like, okay, I know that he's this way with me, but if he ever needed to get here, I let him go. I'll let him go because I know that he can handle it. That's the common denominator with all of these. I don't know, like they're not, for me, they're not villains. They're just misunderstood. They're
anti-heroes. Anti-heroes.
There we go. The anti-heroes.
Bane
They
really,
all have a
Bane really
purpose.
was an anti-hero. He wasn't really a villain in the movie. He was
Yeah.
kind of an anti-hero.
But they all have a purpose. So again, they didn't choose
Right.
this life. Things that came to their doorstep caused them to take these actions. And that, I think, is like the biggest factor that men need to understand.
You know, it's real crazy. You know that I just want to state, man, that scene for me has always continued to be like maybe top 3, top 4 best fight scenes I've ever seen on film. You know what I mean? Just the no music and he just like just beating the dog shit out of Batman. He's just like
When he breaks his back and
oh
he's
my
like,
God,
"You adopted the dark, but I
you know
was
what I mean?
born in the dark."
Like this shit was insane. It was. I remember the first time I saw it, and I was just like, Jesus. I mean, the whole theater was just silent because it's like, dude, like this dude really just beat the shit out of Batman. Like Batman had no answer, but it goes back to what Coco was saying that yes, you know what I mean, I understand why women, you know what I mean, gravitated towards him because he was just this extreme version of masculinity that they feel has a space, has a purpose, you know what I mean? And when the ripcord and the chain is pulled off, yeah, it is necessary. And I do feel that is necessary. And I wish we got back to that.
I think, the sad thing is, I think we will get back to that. Unfortunately, I think it's going to take a catastrophe for us to get back to that. Now, the problem is, I don't know if men are going to be ready to step up to the plate for that. I mean, there's guys like me and Haran, and a lot of other guys like that that are capable of that. We're ready for that.
Mhm.
We are conditioned for that. We know what to do in that scenario. I think the modern man is going to struggle with adapting to that. I mean, our military takes time out from training and boot camp when it gets too emotionally challenging for our soldiers and servicemen. So I mean, that to me is a little weak. We're a little weak there. But you know what? I think you're right. I think women want that man. They want that Bane, but they also want that pillow. That man to be there, that pillow, that cuddle bug.
The balance.
Braveheart.
Yeah. They want that balance. And if men are not mentally in a space to be that balance anymore. I think everything else, we're so polarized to the extreme. I think you get guys that are super alpha chads that are just going to treat women like shit. And then I think you got a bunch of simps. And the perfect guy is the guy in the middle that has some simp qualities, not the toxic ones, not the bad ones, but also has some alpha chad qualities too.
It's funny you should say that, Glenn, because I'm a big music guy. You are too. We're both big on music. I think that our culture changed as men when we kind of stopped simping in our music. Men stopped simping in music, man, a little bit, and things kind of went weird after that. You know what I mean? Because come on, let's. A lot of these, classics from the '70s and '80s. If you really think about some of these songs, man, it's like, oh, this is some simp shit. But
hey, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. There's some songs I just can't listen to. Like,
you know what I'm saying,
I can't listen to Boys to Men that much anymore. And I love Boys to Men. Like, I think they were the best quartet of male singers to ever grace the microphone.
I'm a big Prince fan.
I love Prince too.
But he came out with a song with "I Will Die for You." Amazing record. It's some simp shit though. It's some extreme simp shit.
Oh, what is that song
it's
on
amazing.
the end of Robin Hood with Kevin Costner?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Every little thing I do,
yeah,
I'll do it for super simp song. Great song.
That shit. Now it's just like guys just like shoot chicks and tell them I want to stick my stuff in your throat. Like it's kind of like, doesn't really hit as hard. You know,
Yeah, R&B has gotten really bad. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
really
there's,
bad.
I just downloaded the new Chris Brown album, and
What was it?
there's a couple good tracks. I'm not gonna lie. Like, everything sounds the same. You know, like all the new stuff. It sounds like a mixture of trap, EMD, and like, you know, rap, wannabe R&B. You know, like it's not his best work. Because I love some Chris Brown, and you know the funny thing, as I said, Chris Brown has been very red pill for a very long time. I mean,
Yeah,
with songs like "Loyal,"
yeah.
you know, like he's been ahead of the curve for a lot of these guys for a very, very long time.
You know
But
who
I
was
used
red
to,
pill? You know who was red pill, but you knew how to balance it? Fucking
who?
Bobby Brown.
Oh, well, yeah, yeah. But Bobby Brown was a little extra though.
He
Like
was-
Bobby Brown was like, think about it, we would still have Whitney if it wasn't for Bobby. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. But you know, like I used to really like a lot of Trey Songz's early work, and
yeah,
because he still carried that very classic R&B vibe for a very
Yeah.
long time, and then I don't know, he just kind of fell off. He kind of fell into the mainstream thing, and then, you know, all his sexual allegations. And I seen the video of him
Oh,
just walking
yeah,
up to a
yeah,
woman,
that was
pulling out her
tough to
titty and
watch.
stuff like that. That was just
You know,
way
that
too
was real
much.
tough. That was
Yeah.
tough to watch. I'll admit that. Look, man, I think the last great, brilliant, genius R&B artist, it's R. Kelly. Even though he's a piece of shit for what he did. No, listen, he's a piece of shit for what he did. But I can't sit here and say, you know, I mean, his talent isn't what it was. You know what I mean? Like, he was allowed to do what he did for so long because he was making people so much money. But I can't even sit down and listen to that stuff as much as I used to. You know what I mean? Because you kind of hear it from a different perspective. But nowadays, I just don't dig a lot of R&B stuff nowadays because
No.
it's just like, is this R&B? Is this like rap? Like, what is this? Like this? I mean, this a lot of this stuff sounds like gang violence. Like it just
You know who I like, and Coco is not a big fan of it, but I mean, I really like Charlie Puth. I really love no homo, but I love Sam Smith's older stuff.
yeah. He's really dope.
I love James Arthur. James Arthur
Yeah.
is really good. You know, I mean, these are white guys leading the R&B, you know, romance songs
Right.
right now. But like, you know what's funny? Like R. Kelly, and you just reminded me of this. I was thinking of his catalog. The man that wrote "When a Woman's Fed Up"
Right.
did not listen to his own goddamn song.
Well, you know, I mean, that's indicative of men. Period. We rarely listen to our own advice. You know
I
what
mean, I wonder if he's listening to "If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time" right now.
Definitely not singing "Bump and Grind." I'll tell you that much.
I'm telling you. Or Toya, none of that.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. He
Hopefully
was
none of
one of the
that.
greatest R&B singers because I mean, the songs that I didn't like the most about him were his very female perspective songs, because I also thought that was very like a trope. But like, I mean, when I listen to him now, I'm like, no, he's really speaking from a female's perspective very authentically, you know. And I was like, there was not a lot of male R&B singers that could do that. Now, I mean, I think him and Ron Isley was probably the best collaboration in R&B.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Ron Isley was a goat. But you're right. You know, like, you know, the sad thing is that we said earlier that men are the real romantics out of men and women, and our music has always shown that.
Yeah.
I mean, how many songs or love songs are about a man loving a woman? If a man loves a woman, you know, like all
Right,
these
right.
songs. But nowadays, our music's always like twerk that, pop that, shake that, smack that. I'm gonna shove this in that, back that. You know, it's like
Now take
it's
this into consideration, though. Take this into consideration, what you just said right there, and we both can agree that men we were more romantic at one period in time during pop culture. Would it be safe to assume that there's there's a section of women now who miss that time when we were more romantic instead of worrying about how much the date costs or so on and so forth? We just showed up. We found a way. We showed up with fucking gifts. We've always found a way. When one thing about men, look, man, one thing about men, if we really like a girl, we always find a way. We don't
no, you
do
know
that
what? I
as
think
much anymore.
you're right, and I think like for a woman of a certain age, I'm thinking of women in their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. They probably really yearn for a guy like that because that's what we grew up listening to.
Right.
But this modern day women, I don't think they would just walk all over guys like that. Because
They
I
don't
mean,
see
you
the
got
value.
WAP, like really WAP. This anaconda don't want none. I mean, come on,
Right.
I mean, so I mean,
They
if
don't
you
see the
listen,
value in the guy. You would
yeah, they
say.
don't. I don't think women. I don't think modern women will see the value of the guy and understand. Um, and Nick's right. What we indoctrinated from a very early age. Disney program children. Yeah, absolutely, Disney program children. But there was a sense of, you know, and this kind of goes back to what we're talking about: men struggling being needed and not wanted, or men struggling not being needed and but wanted. You know, is that a man was needed back then because he would do all those things,
Right.
you know, and it wasn't so much of a burden. It was a badge of honor.
Right.
But nowadays, women don't value that badge of honor so much. They see guys that do that as an easy mark.
I've seen it. Yes,
And
you're
and
absolutely
and
right.
so
I've
that's
seen it.
where it's like it's really sad because guys are losing, as you're saying, guys are losing the romantic vibe, you
Yeah.
know, that we had. That I mean, think about every romantic movie that's out there. I mean, Shakespeare alone, one of the greatest, you know, authors and playwriters that
Mhm.
this world has ever seen, was a
Mhm.
romantic.
Yeah, he
Romeo
was
and
at his core.
Juliet,
Yes,
huge
at his
romantic
core.
movie.
Yeah.
But we don't have men like that no more because I don't think women appreciate men like that anymore. And if there is, I mean, there are women out there that do appreciate men like that. I just don't think it's to the amount that that should be. You know, and that's why I say I think it's a woman of a certain age right now. I don't think the younger women, 18 through late 20s, really appreciate a man like that. And I think that it does them a disservice because if they learn to appreciate a man like that, they can catch a good guy early and they can have a very successful and prosperous life, a very peaceful and good life. I think women that push that kind of guy away and then wait till their later years in life to catch him, there's going to be harder to find them because the pool is going to be fewer. And also, you might end up circling around the guy that you did dirty, you know, and that knight in shining armor that you want him to be is actually going to be the ogre that's going to keep you locked up in your castle. That no one will save you. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's sad because, man, I used to love R&B music to like shit, man. I wish I used to be able to sing just because I wanted to sing R&B. But it's sad that we don't have that vibe. And I think it's because we are not dealing with the same type of woman anymore.
I think men want to be absolutely great to women. We just don't want to be taken advantage of.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
That's it. I think we want to. I think we still want to do the things that we used to do. I think there lies the frustration in many of us, but we don't want to be taken advantage of. We don't want to be held on a wire or string, which is understandable.
Yeah, yeah. You know, like oh, what movie was it? What movie were we watching recently? It really wasn't a romantic comedy. It wasn't a romantic movie, but it was like we saw some like we were like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Like we saw like women behavior and man behavior and like where they got it wrong. I can't think of it right now. But we were watching a movie. I'm like, man, this is what's missing, and this is what's sad because this is how we revert to things. But what I'm going to get at, I'm going to end here. You know, oh no, I'm not centered. No. Coco told me not to sing. Okay, and I'll tell you this right now. Look, when God said made a joyful noise, he looked at me and said, "Shut the fuck up." Okay, he gave me the bass.
I'm the singer in this group. You're the musician.
That's right.
You play the instruments.
I will write the lyrics. I will write the song. I will play the bass, but you will not catch me singing. Now I'll rap for you, but I won't sing for you. But you know, let's end on a positive note. All right, here we go. Because we already at the 2-hour mark, and our dog needs to take a shit. So here we go. Haran.
Yes, sir.
One good thing that you know, one positive note for men in the dating market. Shoot.
There are women out there that want to be with you. There are women out there who want to be with you. You just have to figure out if you want to be the best version of yourself. So there lies the onus is on you. The onus is on men to have the life that they want to live. It's always been that way. Women, you know, let's not get it twisted. Yeah, you know, they have more options right now. Yeah, excuse me. More things are in their way, you know, in their favor. But you can't be biology. You know what I mean? You know, they're going to want to desire certain things, like Coco said, you know what I mean? Women want a bane because it's a biological imperative. It's something instinctive. You know what I mean? Men, men talk a lot of shit, but you know, we want to protect women. We want to take our fucking jacket off and put it on the fucking ground and have them walk over it. We want to do all that other goofy dumb shit. You know, we want to do that other shit. Don't let anyone lie to you. You just like I said again, you just don't want to be taken advantage of. Okay, that's the difference. But men want to still do the goofy shit. That's why we say things like, "You something," the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Every dude is simped once or twice in his life. No one, you know what I mean? No one's alpha male 1,000 all of the time. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, overall, and I won't get long-winded. You know, there are women out there that want to be with you. The onus is on you to be the man that you need to be.
Thank you for that, Haran. Coco, what do you got to say? Positive note for men in the dating market. What is your words?
I'm just going to co-sign with what Haran said because it's true. But the biggest thing that, because I can totally understand men have a fear of being taken advantage of. They have for quite a long time now, and it's not right. Because there are women out there that have values and cherish a man the way that I see a man. The biggest thing that men need to do that I don't think they're doing with the right way because they're not thinking and doing it this way, they're doing it downstairs, is they need to vet women. There are women you need to vet properly because if you're romantic, there are plenty of women out there. Like if a dude did that for me and there was a puddle and he took his jacket off and I was in a pretty gown and he had me walk across in a puddle, I'd probably come in my pants. just from seeing the act of romance from that. Like, you don't see it anymore. I'm a hopeless romantic myself, but for Valentine's Day, I built a fort in the living room. Got every sheet that I had in the house, bought some extra one silk. I put little vines and lights, and I made pillows and forts, and I made a tent fort in the middle of the living room so that way Glenn and I could actually watch a movie and have a living room fort for Valentine's Day. Like, that's the kind of romance that women do love. And women will also show you that too. That comes with vetting. A woman will show you, because women also have this thing where they will do to you what they want to return, minus all the foul stuff. But I'm saying, if a woman is romantic and she does something for you and you never thought of that before, she wants that. I would love if somebody built me a tent like that in the living room and surprised me one day. I would love it if somebody just like took me and made a picnic out in the frickin' by the lake or something like that and had Centronella candles so we didn't get eaten by mosquitoes. And we just had a little picnic at like midnight looking at the stars. There are women that want that. There are women who will absolutely cherish and desire you for that, but men need to vet better.
That's good advice. And just so you guys know, we did not lay in that fort tent. My back was all jacked up. I was still struggling from my motorcycle accident. I was like, you want me to lay on the ground? Like, I can't get down to the ground. I could barely sit up. So it was a very sweet, very beautiful.
That's wonderful, man.
It really was. I felt bad I couldn't do anything with it. I'm just like, if I get down, I'm not getting back up. There's no recovery for me. And I just had a cortisone shot too. So it was all bad. It was all bad.
Jesus.
But I will say this, guys, for you guys out there in the dating market and you want to get better with women. And I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this. I say stop chasing women. Chase yourself. Get yourself where you want to be. Haran said something earlier that it kind of coincides this. Look at yourself. Would you date you?
Yep.
Would you fuck you? Like, not literally in the literal sense, but like, do you find yourself attractive? Honestly, give yourself a reflection in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror. When I was a coach on training people, I tell people, look at yourself naked in the mirror. I really don't care what the scale says. If we're trying to lose fat, like, I really don't care what the scale says, because muscle always weighs more than fat. But look at yourself in the mirror. Are you satisfied with what you see in the mirror? Because that's the best judge right there. If you're not, then focus on it. If you're not happy the way you look, then focus on the gym. If you're not happy where your finances are, if you don't feel you can take a woman out on the date that you would want to properly take her out on, then get your finances up. Focus on those things before you focus on women. Too often, guys put the carrot before the horse, or the horse before the carrot, or whatever, and they want to focus on women before focusing on bettering themselves. They want women to, like, oh, I want a girl that wants to grow and build an empire with me. Well, guess what? Those women are very few. Okay, women waiting for the winners at the end of the finish line. All right, so you got to be at your apex. You got to be at least in reach of your apex. If your confidence is not there in the gym, get your ass to the gym. I mean, literally, you have 24 hours a day. 8 to 10 of them you're at work. That means you have 12 to 14 hours that you ain't doing shit. 8 of them you're sleeping. Okay, so now you have 4 hours on your hands where you're at home, either playing video games. Dedicate an hour a day to the gym and watch changes happen if you want to get in physical better shape. And when you do that, you will level up.
I tell guys, hey, look, man, I told a friend of mine, like, look, get a 30, 40 pound kettlebell, man. You don't want to go to the fucking gym. Spend 30, 40 minutes a day just swinging that fucking kettlebell. Eat right. And I promise you, you will experience a degree of change. Now, if you want to experience more, I'll give you a regimen to follow. But sometimes if you just start small, sometimes it's the small starts, and when people see, like, oh shit, this shit really can happen, that motivates people to actually really put in the work. Because sometimes people just don't think it's possible. They need to see the smallest change for them to get motivated.
Yeah, and I want to add one more thing to what Coco said. A lot of guys, you guys have good women, but you're too scared to be romantic with them. And you're at risk of losing these good women to the guys that are willing to take that step and take that risk. You know, so if you have a good woman, do the romantic shit. Yeah, you have to have boundaries. If she steps out of line, of course, you know, enforce your boundaries, but do that romantic shit for them. Even if they get attacked by mosquitoes at the park, you know, because Coco gets eaten up by mosquitoes. We go outside. But you got to do that romantic shit. Like, but as you're right, you have to vet the woman. Remember, like, I mean, I hate to say this, but men, you are the prize. You are her prize, and she is your prize. Don't think you're less of a prize. So if you want a good woman, vet her. You may not find the good woman that are the first 100 women you come across, but that 101 or that 150 might be a good woman. And if you become so bitter in this red pill space and think all women ain't shit, you're going to pass up a really good woman, and you're going to grow lonely and old and bitter. Okay, the red pill is not for make men bitter, and a lot of people think that's what it's for. The red pill is supposed to help men, you know, navigate intersexual dynamics with women, not become bitter. And there's a lot of guys, and you won't hear me or Haran or any of the guys that I associate with, you know, really talk about how women ain't shit. We know there's some really fucked up women out there, but we know there's a lot of fucked up men out there. All right. And we just want to help guys become better versions of themselves so they could have a more successful and happy life, so that they can all find their dime and get their own Coco, because this one is mine.
I also am honest in saying some of the fucked up women that some of you guys have met, I'm the reason why they're fucked up. But I will say that this is one of the reasons why.
I was trying to end on a positive note. Blame Haran for all those girls who try to take advantage of you.
This is one of the reasons why I'm not hard on women, because it's like, yeah, you dated me. So it's just like, it is what it is.
So just so you know, everybody in the East Coast area, if you come across a real degenerate female, Haran's to blame. He probably
not saying that I'm not to blame, but I'm not necessarily saying I am to blame also. It's just a possibility, especially if she's your mom. It's just a possibility. I'm just throwing it out there. You know what I mean?
All right, with that, we are going to end this one. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Nick, for checking it out. I appreciate you, man. Hit me up. I would love to talk to you about the Australia laws and stuff like that, and what's dating like out there for you guys. For everybody else, have a good night. Haran, I'll hit you up in the Instagram DMs.
You know how we do.
Yep,
you know how
we
do. All right, man. Take care, man.
All right,
Coco.